for joining us for the panel discussion. The topic of this session will be Viksit Bharat, the role of business, education, and innovation and leadership in a Viksit Bharat. To begin with, I would ask a common question to all of you. When we talk of Viksit Bharat, what is that, the sector with which you're associated? What does, or to what extent does that contribute to a Viksit Bharat at 2047? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Anupama first.
Yeah. मैं अनुपमा चौधरी, प्रिंसिपल गवर्नमेंट सीनियर सेकेंडरी स्कूल तलवंडी कोटा. एक्चुअली आई एम एजुकेटर सिंस लास्ट 31 years. और मेरी जो सोच है कि अगर हम सोच को बदलते हैं, बच्चों की जो एजुकेशन है उसको बदलते हैं, व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू चेंज द थॉट प्रोसेस, जो बीज अगर हम अच्छा डालेंगे तो विकसित भारत 2047 अवश्य हमें मिलेगा. अगर हमने उसको बीज डालने के साथ साथ उसको फ्लरिश करने के लिए प्रॉपर एनवायरनमेंट दिया, प्रॉपर एनर्जी दी एंड कोऑर्डिनेशन के साथ चलेंगे, तभी वो सपना साकार हो पाएगा जो हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने विकसित भारत के रूप में दिया है. तो उसके लिए शुरुआत हमें एजुकेशन से करनी पड़ेगी और उसके बाद हम आगे की तरफ बढ़ते जाएंगे तो ज़रूर हमें वो मुकाम मिलेगा.
Yes, good morning everyone once again. I completely agree with Anupama ji, what she said just now, because I think education is the first factor, because that is where we raise our children to make a brighter future for themselves and for everyone in the country, even for the senior citizens at that point of time. Apart from that, I feel, being a lawyer, I just, if I see the rules, regulations, and other such constitutional amendments, if required, are also to be done in future. We see that many of the new businesses which are coming up, they need to face lot of legal troubles also. When, you know, simple fines can be imposed, then there are provisions for imprisonment, you know, things like that. So every business cannot be, in failure of such businesses, it cannot just be, you know, criminalized in a way which is happening in today's times. And that is what, you know, the youth, they are also afraid of starting, you know, any business. And they prefer to go to many other tax haven countries where they can start their own business with lot of ease, with lot of, you know, easy terms, conditions, or maybe the government rules, regulations, which I think here also we will have to improve. We have seen many of the startups, even if they are ignorant about certain rules, regulations, taxation, they are being sent notices, and we know what happens after that. So they, instead of doing business, they go into a different world altogether. So there I think it should be done in such a way that they should feel comfortable in doing some business, in creating opportunities, in creating employment. Their intent should be taken into consideration, not merely failure of complying with certain rules and regulations being made every now and then. Apart from that, I feel that there are many disputes between different businesses. They are not being paid. If somebody has done work, even for the government, or maybe non-government organizations, they are not being paid on time. And that creates a lot of difficulty for all these newcomers, new businesses. It adds burden, financial burden to them. So I think all these has to be eased out. That has to be seen that whoever works has to be paid. And even if there is any dispute whatsoever, there has to be a system which should resolve these disputes in a very, very efficient manner so that the businesses survive. And also to the banks which are giving loans, they take a lot of properties as equitable mortgage, because I have seen many of the cases now coming up. But when these businesses fail, or maybe they are not able to repay the loan, for whatever reasons, there could be genuine reasons also, they are treated as if they are the hardened criminals, you know, in the country, and they are treated in a completely different way. The FIRs are registered, they are made to go to apply for bails, etc. So I think there has to be, there is lot of scope now which will improve the businesses, and if these businesses are improved, obviously they will create more and more employment, which will generate good economy, and this is what will happen, towards the Viksit Bharat, what we want to achieve. And obviously, as she said about education, so education is the first ingredient. Obviously, after education, they will start doing something, the youngsters, but they need to be protected, they need to be valued, they need to be given opportunities. They need not be treated as if they are just the law violators. This is what is happening today. So I have a lot of things to say, but I think I will give it to my friend now.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and Jai Hind. हम लोग हमेशा आत्मनिर्भर भारत, सेल्फ रिलायंट भारत, विकसित भारत हम देखते हैं, लेकिन मैं आज के इस युवाओं को एज ए डिफेंस एम्बेसडर ऑफ गोवा वेब एंड फाउंडेशन मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये एक नारा नहीं है, ये हमारे सोच की ये हमारी पहली शर्त है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने के लिए हमको हमारी सोच जो है, हमारा जो नियम है, ये पहला है आत्मनिर्भर भारत, विकसित भारत। हम लोग हमेशा ये सोचते हैं, मैं बताना चाहूँगा सर आपको, मनोज जी, किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी को अगर हम देखते तो पहले पूछते कि ये इसमें मेक इन इंडिया कंटेंट कितना होगा। मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि शुरुआत से ही ये होना चाहिए कि आईपी हमारा हो। टेक्नोलॉजी शुरुआत से ही अगर आप इंडिजनाइज करने की कोशिश करोगे तभी जाकर आत्मनिर्भर भारत और विकसित भारत 2047 जो हम कह रहे हैं, वाई दिस इज 2047, क्योंकि तब हमारे 100 ईयर्स पूरे कंप्लीट हो रहे हैं। और जो भी विकसित भारत के लिए, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए जितने प्रयास हो रहे हैं, युवाओं को स्पेशली, ये लोग शॉर्टकट का बड़ा प्रयोग करते हैं। तो मैं चाहूँगा कि शॉर्टकट नहीं, आप आईपी पे फोकस करो, आप टेक्नोलॉजी पे फोकस करो। आप शुरुआत से ही हमारे मेक इन इंडिया, जिसे हम कहते हैं कि 100% मेक इन इंडिया होना चाहिए। अब देखिए हमारे डिफेंस फील्ड में इतनी सारी चीज़ें हो गई हैं मेक इन इंडिया को लेकर कि यहाँ जब हम किसी भी चीज़ को डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं डिफेंस को लेकर, आज आपने देखा कि जब ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में अलग अलग प्रकार के हमारे डिफेंस के सोर्सेस को, डिफेंस के इक्विपमेंट को यूज़ किया गया, तब जाकर हमारे टैक्स पेयर्स ने देखा कि हमारे देश की डिफेंस ताकत क्या है। जब S-400 हमारे दुश्मनों के हर किसी मिसाइल्स को या इसको जब गिराता है, आई रियली वांट टू जस्ट शेयर वन मोर इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में जम्मू बॉर्डर पे जो स्वॉर्म ड्रोन आए थे, 500 स्वॉर्म ड्रोन्स पाकिस्तान से, उस पाकिस्तान के स्वॉर्म ड्रोन को न्यूट्रलाइज करने का काम मेरे कंपनी के एंटी ड्रोन सिस्टम ने किया, जिसका नाम है वज्र शॉट। और मैं बताना चाहूँगा ये जो वज्र शॉट हमारा था, ये 84% का इंडिजिनाइज कंटेंट था। मुझे आप लोग को बताते हुए बड़ा गर्व महसूस हो रहा है कि आने वाले सितंबर के एंड में हमने उसे 100% मेक इन इंडिया बना दिया है। तो मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि सोच जो होगी, आप इंडिजिनाइज कंटेंट ऐड कितना होगा, कन्वर्ट होगा, ये ना करते हुए युवाओं ने हमारे आईपी पे फोकस करना चाहिए, शॉर्टकट नहीं लेना चाहिए, और शुरुआत से ही इंडियन इंडिजिनाइज कंटेंट को हमने ये करना चाहिए। आप देखिए हमारे देश की जो जनसंख्या है, हमारी जो पॉपुलेशन है, ये मोर देन 64% 35 ईयर्स एज के बच्चों की। आप सोचिए कि हमारा देश जो है, या इट्स रियली वेरी गुड थिंग फॉर आवर कंट्री। तो मैं तो बस ये कहना चाहूँगा कि विकसित भारत के लिए, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लिए जो हम कहते हैं, इससे सबसे पहले सोच बदली कि एक नारा नहीं है, ये एक शर्त है। That's only I just want to say. Thank you so much. Sir.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So I heard a lot from my fellow panelists, and I would say all points stated by them were absolutely right. My thing is that, you see, anything which develops amongst all of us, in our families, in our colleges, in our work life, how does that come about? it comes about from the grounding that we have, which is the mindset and value systems, and a national goal, if I may say so. Now, that may need to be developed in the family, but the awareness of all this comes from the education sector, which ma'am was very rightly mentioning. So what happens is that unless and until the thing comes from within, and within each individual, and that spark within each individual comes from the first the family, the parents, and definitely from the education system. Now, I represent the mall and retail industry, so our industry's humble contribution is towards providing employment, improving consumption, and improving certain leisure and entertainment activities to all the people in the urban and rural sectors. So, while it may be like, what you earn, what you spend type, very commercial type of approach, but behind all that is also something about development. And if we see today in all retail and in all malls, we have largely homegrown brands. Yes, there are some foreign ones, no doubt, especially some in the luxury and some in bridge to luxury, what we call. But most of the brands which are featured in malls are all homegrown. Some are regional, some are national, some are even local. So we are already in retail following a little bit of Atmanirbharta in a way. And we have the mindset that we want to develop homegrown solutions rather than import something from XYZ countries. That is number one. And the last thing which I would add here is that we know that employment is a concern, and it is being highlighted across from many years, and I would say decades, and maybe since the time our country was born into being an independent country. So it's not about current regime, old regime, but it's a perpetual problem. So retail in its own small way is helping in providing employment. And if we see today across all the sectors, I was earlier with hospitality, so if I see in all these sectors, I would say it's a very good integrator of all people from across. So there are people from Northeast who at one time were hardly visible, but now if you see, they are in every sphere of every industry. And if you see South, North, East and West, all people are blending in and are getting opportunities in suitable sectors. So the skill development, which is one of the government plans, has to happen. For that skill development, a basic grounding and training has to happen. The only thing which is there is the curriculum which is there for us is a little theoretical in a way. And what you learn, you don't get. So I would just say that the course and the curriculum needs to be more attuned to today's times. That's all from my side. Thank you.
All right, sir. With this, I would announce the next round of the questions. When we talk of a Viksit Bharat, the idea we are sharing today is the entrepreneurial spirit and the excellence of the MSMEs. Mr. Agarwal, what is the scope, or for that matter, what are the opportunities for the MSME sector today when we talk of retail? Are people still swayed away by brands? Are people still more inclined towards shopping in malls? You're talking of homegrown, encouraging homegrown products. It's a very important aspect of a Viksit Bharat, of a self-reliant India. But then, to enable or to encourage people in that direction is indeed very challenging. So what are the opportunities available specifically for these homegrown brands, especially for the MSME sector to flourish when we talk of retail in the country?
Well, nice question, I would say. What happens is that today we have gone into a sphere where we have largely very large size malls. And those malls, unfortunately, even today in India, between all the international and national brands, we don't have more than maximum 280 odd brands. So the opportunity for all the local players, regional players, is immense, and people, in fact, are encouraging that. When I was the CEO of the Elante complex in Chandigarh, I think at least out of 220 odd stores, we had about approximately 30%, which were homegrown and local regional type of brands. So that opportunity exists. The MSMEs, what happens is, the MSMEs is a thrust also of the government today, and I think rightly so, because the MSE, it's like a pyramid. So MSMEs at certain levels are in the mid-tier of this pyramid. The apex peers are all the large corporates and all the large international conglomerates and so on. But those guys do certain things. But if, as we say, the base is always broader than the top. So the broad base is where the contribution can come from, is in my view, in retail and in almost all sectors.
Right. We'll continue this panel discussion. But ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have amongst us Mr. Bhau Saab, our Vakchore. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. He is a member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, Shirdi, Maharashtra. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. We're honored by your presence here. We will be talking about the idea of Viksit Bharat, and as you entered, we were discussing the idea of Viksit Bharat, the role of leadership, education, entrepreneurship, and innovation in reaching and achieving a Viksit Bharat. Ashutosh ji, when we are talking of the role of MSMEs or the excellence of MSMEs, you pointed out the protection. How protected are the MSME, is the MSME sector today when we talk of Viksit Bharat? How important is it to give a voice to the MSME sector? Flourishing is one aspect, but legal foundations, legal challenges are a very important aspect, again, in their run-up to flourish, which would in turn lead to a developed India. But then, how important is judiciary playing a role in protecting the MSMEs when we talk of Viksit Bharat?
See, when you talk about judiciary, so judiciary has to only apply the existing laws. They cannot keep on making new laws because the parliament is there to make the laws. So they can only implement it. And if they find a different merit in a case, they may try to bring new set of judicial system there, if there is any ambiguity in any law, so that they can clarify, maybe in the interest of everyone and MSMEs who are affected by it. But generally, once a company is formed, they are regulated by the Companies Act, now 2013, earlier it was 1956. So I feel that the startups which are coming up, they need some time to establish themselves. While the taxation laws are implicated on them, when the companies' laws are implicated on them. And also, as I said, that we know that when the companies, they take huge loans also, from banks, and they are not able to repay because of maybe genuine losses also at the same time. There could be misappropriation of funds, but there can be genuine loss as well. We know that we have restructuring system from RBI. So if you take a loan, the company is not able to repay, you can go for restructuring of the loan. This circular was issued by RBI some years back, and they withdrew that restructuring. And then several petitions were filed in different high courts across the country because many of the corporates who had suffered huge losses because of during pandemic and all, they were not able to repay properly. So that time, all these petitions in different high courts were transferred to the Supreme Court, and I was also one of them representing one of those clients like GSCL, Gangakhet Sugar and Energy Limited, which is in Maharashtra. And then the Supreme Court came to a conclusion that no, you cannot withdraw this. Let this continue in the betterment of the economy, and also that it will be, in a way, not constitutional just to simply withdraw it without any parliamentary process. Because there is RBI Act, and as per the Act, this restructuring system was evolved. So there are many ways by which Supreme Court has and have been supporting many of these companies, industries. But I feel at the same time that there has to be new formulation of laws considering ease of business in India in a better way, which the government is already trying to adopt and doing, but some more is required. We see that, as I said, that many of the youth, they prefer maybe to go in different places and doing their business where there is ease of business, when there is, the tax haven countries we have seen. So I think in many of the ways we can also reduce many sorts of other sort of criminal acts like, money laundering and such things which are happening, because they bring the money in such a way that they can save a lot of taxes, and because of that the money is being laundered. So if it is to be considered on a serious note by the experts, then many rules can be amended in such a way that it becomes better for the country, better for the economy of the country, better even for the collection of the taxes of the country, also for the betterment of the youth who do not go, do not leave the country, they stay here, they do the business here, they have all the ease here. Then the dispute resolution system, as I said, because if somebody comes in, now we have NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, and IBC, we call it as Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. This was framed in 2016, and to ease out the debts and to recover the debts, whether the banks have given the debts or if there is operational creditor involved. Suppose you have given some work to X company, you have completed the work, they have not paid you, now you can go to NCLT. However, that process is still, it is taking time, So if all these aspects are taken with obviously this law IBC was framed in 2016, the government took active participation. They were eager that a law should be formulated which can ease out to the banks and any financial creditor to get their money back. Because what happens in NCLT that if there is legitimate dues, then they can appoint resolution professional instead and they can suspend the directors of a company. So to recover the money faster. This is one part of it. But the other part, as I said, that if it is a new company, new startup, they should be given somewhat more ease, somewhat more understanding, so that they flourish their business in a better way rather than, considering them as defaulters, whether it is tax, whether it is loan, whether it is payments. So some sort of breathing space, if it is given to them, they can survive in a better way.
This was what was highlighted by Prime Minister during 2016 only, when he talked of ease of doing business and encouraging the startup sentiment in the country.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Tayade, you've talked of innovation in the defense sector. When we talk of defense, then defense sector is one of the most important pillars of the country. The idea of self-reliance in the defense sector, to what extent has it evolved, one, ever since its inception? And secondly, how far has it strengthened India's position on the global page? Because today, self-reliance in defense is not just important for the country, but India is also exporting defense equipments manufactured in the country itself. So put all this together, how has the image of the country transformed on the global page when we talk of indigenous, or for that matter, self-reliance manufacturing, making India self-reliance in defense sector?
Yes, yeah. It's a very good question. I would like to just answer your second question first. See, before our Honorable Defense Minister, Mr. Manoj sir from Goa, sir, the budget of Indian defense was just like around 240 crore rupees and all. You can just see the last figure, 6.34 lakh crore rupees budget is there. So our country was always dependent on the import and all. It means, I want to say that, these changes and this young generation always tell black box technology. So we were completely dependent upon the black box technology at that time. But nowadays, I would just like to tell you that the IDEX is there. IDEX is the Indian Defense, it's a vertical over there, who is actually supporting all the industries, private industries. I really appreciate and I support the decision taken by Honorable late our Defense Minister Manoj Parrikar Sahab. He was the only person at that time. He thought that if the private industry would have been come in this defense industry, the scenario of our nation will be very different. Now, only on that decision, the private industries are there, and the people, manufacturer, innovator like us, we can do a better better innovation and better thing for the nation. So, over to your second questions. Yes, our nation is right now on a very higher stage. Now, very less dependency right now in our country, right? So, the budget itself says that innovation, definitely strengthening our nation, and different type of technologies are coming here for, say, like if you are just thinking about radar, if you are just thinking about the, the all electronics sensing devices, like anything, you can just name any sensing devices, like for the drone, anti-drones, whatever it may be. So there are so many, innovations are there, so many technologies are there in our country, which private industries invented, and they are supporting the nations over there. So this is my statement on your question.
I'll bring in Anupama ma'am here. Anupama ji, when we talk of education, then youth plays a very important role in nation building, and the resolve of youth is very important. We've seen in the past few days also. But then a very important aspect was put forth by one of our audience also when they talked of skilled youth, educated youth. How important is that, a pillar for Viksit Bharat? And as an education leader yourself, to what extent does a focused youth help in achieving the ideas which have been put forth by the leadership of the country?
Very good question, and I would like to, सबसे पहले तो मैं थैंक देना चाहूँगी भारत सरकार को कि उन्होंने जो काम किया है स्किल इंडिया के थ्रू, और जो वोकेशनल स्कूल्स खोले हैं और साथ में पीएम श्री स्कूल खोले हैं, उसमें भी स्किल इंडिया को महत्व देने के लिए बहुत सारी योजनाएं चलाई हैं। और राजस्थान सरकार के भी जो एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर अभी हैं इस समय, वो भी बहुत ही अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं इसमें। तो मैं क्योंकि पीएम श्री स्कूल में भी से जुड़ाव रहा मेरा, वोकेशनल स्कूल से भी रहा, और इस समय तो मैं गर्ल्स सीनियर सेकेंडरी स्कूल की प्रिंसिपल हूँ। तो मैं इस बात को समझ पा रही हूँ कि जो पर्टिकुलर स्कूल्स में जो स्किल सिखाई जा रही है, वो वही स्किल अगर हर स्कूल में की जाए और वो थोड़ा अर्ली स्टेज से की जाए, तो बच्चे के एप्टीट्यूड के हिसाब से उसकी क्षमता क्या है, उसकी सोच क्या है, वो क्या कर सकता है, उसके आधार पे अगर हम उसे शुरू से ही स्किल की तरफ ले जाएं, और हर स्कूल में ये विशेषता हो, प्राइवेट स्कूल में भी हो, तो बच्चा बहुत जल्दी, जैसे फॉरेन कंट्रीज़ में भी होता है कि बच्चे छोटे से ही वो पकड़ लिए जाते हैं कि भाई आपको पकड़ने का मतलब ये कि उनको दिशा दे दी जाती है, चैनलाइज कर दिया जाता है, संस्कार के साथ साथ उन्हें हुनर भी सिखा दिया जाता है। क्योंकि आज के टाइम में मैं जहाँ रहती हूँ कोटा, इट इज़ ए फैक्ट्री ऑफ मेकिंग द इंजीनियर्स एंड डॉक्टर्स, कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री भी कहा जाता है। तो वहाँ पर इंजीनियर डॉक्टर बनाने के लिए होड़ लगी है, बहुत सारे पूरे देश भर से लोग आ रहे हैं। लेकिन हर क्षेत्र में जब प्रगति है और हर क्षेत्र में हम जब आगे ले जा सकते हैं बच्चों को, तो क्यों नहीं हम उनको बचपन से उनके एप्टीट्यूड के हिसाब से सिखाएं, उनके एटीट्यूड को उसी हिसाब से बदलें, और बचपन से उनके हुनर को पहचान करके और उसे सही दिशा में ले जा करके चैनलाइज करें। तो हम बहुत हद तक एक विकसित राष्ट्र, जो हमारी जो सोच है, हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सोच है, उस तक इन बच्चों को ले जा सकते हैं और इनकी सही ऊर्जा को सही दिशा में ले जा सकते हैं। यहाँ पर मैं एक और बात कहना चाहूँगी कि जो हम बच्चों को हुनर की बात करते हैं, हम शिक्षा की बात करते हैं, लेकिन हम यहाँ पे संस्कार की भी बात करें। कोई भी व्यक्ति, कोई भी बाहरी देश या कुछ भी, मैं किसी का भी नाम नहीं लूँगी, जो भी वर्तमान परिवेश में हुआ, तो हमारे बच्चों को क्यों उसका यूज़ कर रहा है, क्यों उन बच्चों को बरगला करके देश सर्वोपरि है। हम ये अगर बच्चे के अंदर ये संस्कार डालें कि देश है तो हम हैं, अगर देश ही नहीं तो हम क्या हैं, तो देश के प्रति जो देशभक्ति की भावना है, जो पेरेंट्स के प्रति जो संस्कार की भावना है, जो विश्वास है राष्ट्र के प्रति, अगर हम वो बच्चे के अंदर बचपन से डालेंगे और उसके साथ साथ हम कला, उसकी हर चीज़ को हम आगे बढ़ाएंगे और शिक्षा को जोड़ेंगे। मैं यहाँ पे एक बात और कहना चाहूँगी कि जो गांव के बच्चे हैं, क्योंकि मैंने 31-32 साल से मैं एजुकेशन में ही काम कर रही हूँ, काफ़ी लंबा दौर मेरा निकला है, और इसमें जो गांव के परिवेश है उसको भी मैंने समझा है। तो गांव तक तो ये बातें पहुंच ही नहीं पाती हैं। जो शहर के जो हाईलाइटेड बच्चे हैं, जो प्राइवेट स्कूल के बच्चे हैं, उन्हीं को आगे बढ़ाने की बात की जाती है। तो उन बच्चों के अंदर भी बहुत क्षमताएं हैं, और उन क्षमताओं को पहचान करके, और उनके अंदर पर संस्कार भी हैं। सबसे बड़ी बात है कि उनके अंदर संस्कार भी हैं, और उनको हम क्षमताओं को बढ़ा करके अगर बढ़ावा देते हैं तो हमें बहुत अच्छी मात्रा में यूथ की एनर्जी का इस्तेमाल मिलेगा, और जो हमारे देश को आगे बढ़ाने में बहुत बड़ी कड़ी साबित होगा। ऐसा मैं सोचती हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने बच्चों को, हज़ारों बच्चों को पढ़ाया है, और मेरे वो जो बच्चे जो गांव से निकले और जो आगे पहुँचे हैं, जो आईएएस भी बने हैं, जो प्रिंसिपल्स भी हैं, जो आगे आगे पहुँच रहे हैं, तो मेरे को लगता है कि उन बच्चों की क्षमताओं को हमें ढूंढना चाहिए और उन्हें आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, जो भारत सरकार भी बहुत कोशिश कर रही है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा और प्रयास हो तो ये बच्चे बहुत बड़ी हमारे लिए एक पहचान एसेट बना सकते हैं। तो मैं यही बात कहना चाहूँगी। धन्यवाद
जी, you can keep it with yourself, ma'am. Mr. Agarwal, we are talking of the flourishing of the MSME sectors. You pointed out how the atmosphere is feasible for the industry, for the sector to flourish. But then we have a lot of achievers here from the sector who will be awarded today. But then for others who are aspiring to be a startup in today's times, who are aspiring to be in the run-up and to contribute their share by being a startup to the country's ambitions, what are the qualities that should be inherent in those startups? Given the scenario today, what qualities, or leadership qualities to be precise, if I say, what are those that have to be there in a startup in today's times to flourish?
Well, I think for any startup, first is the thought process and the idea of what particular aspect of any industry or any solution that you want. It could be anything, but that is very, very primary because it's a unique thing. Second is that startup necessarily does not mean crores and lakhs and multiple lakh of rupees. The idea and the thought process behind leads first. Secondly, what is required is little bit of clarity on what you want to do, which at times vision evolves when you start off. Second part is that in this you need definitely perseverance, because nothing happens in a day. As we say, Rome was built in 7 days and so on and so forth. But the point is that perseverance is required, and that perseverance then makes you last. Then I think in this, from a government ecosystem also, there is good amount of support. And last and not the least, once you become visible at the end of all this, that means you've germinated an idea, you put it into motion, you've got some like-minded partners, you made it visible, and you get suitable support that you need. Once it becomes visible, then, like we know in India, there are a huge amount of unicorns which are there. And how have they come? They started small, very small, and slowly they scaled, and to the extent they became a unicorn. And some of them have become full-fledged companies also, India and worldwide as well. So I think that's the startup thing. In that, the leadership is that is my belief that, it is not one person who can do it. It is always a team. So if you say that it's my idea, my company, my thing, my money and all that stuff, then it will not probably lead you somewhere in the long run. Maybe for the first few months, first few years, but then you will need collaborators, you will need team, you will need support, and you will need people who take it forward. And last thing which I would leave is that in a startup is, what gets you here does not take you there. So that's, I think, a very, very important aspect of it.
Talking of the challenges of startups, we've seen how retail has evolved in the country. When we talk of the challenges, then for a startup to flourish, does the region to which it belongs, does that also play a role? I'll ask it in very simple terms. we're talking of the mall culture, we're talking of the retail sector, how it has evolved and changed. A person sitting in a metropolitan city, he will have a different perspective of shopping, he will have a different perspective of a brand particular, and a person belonging to a small town or a city or a district, he will have a different perspective. So I want to understand from you, what is it, for a retailer, or for that matter for a company, how important are these two different buyers, and to what extent will they help in evolving of the retail sector?
So I think that's a very nice, query or question. What happens is, you see that, as I said, it's somewhat like a startup of a retail brand. So you have an idea, you have a product, maybe you have a service, but after that what? So then you require a platform where it reaches people and reaches markets. Now, in at least the city side and in the malls and the organized retail side, you have platforms which are maybe small, but something like a kiosk, like an exhibition, I would say we call it in the industry as flea markets, which are actually like, these homegrown stores which are there where people showcase their products. So that's how you start small. And once you know that, you have achieved a certain visibility, a certain turnover, a certain sale, then you can try to scale up. But amongst the most scary things, in my opinion, in retail is scaling up. I've seen, forget small companies and small brands, the largest of brands have failed when they have not expanded with the right strategy or into the right markets. So that's one part of it. And the other thing is that for the rural market, today as we see, I would say I'm not an authority on the rural segment of India, but at least tier 2, tier 3 cities where I also do currently a lot of my consultancy work, I find today even luxury, where things are like, starting 40, 50,000 upwards. A lot of this is coming from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and at times even from certain rural hubs, which means that the penetration of organized retail and the penetration of a brand has reached that. So that is there, however, and it's a little bit of a misnomer if I may say that, rural means equal to value. But if you see after COVID times, today if you see fast fashion, the D2C brands which are online getting into brick and mortar, all of them are value driven. It's not that we all as consumers are not buying certain upmarket goods, but value is there for us to stay. And that is why you see that the wardrobes are expanding, but with the key elements of key brands is limited, while the mass base of all other casual wear is going, and it is supported by the fact that today the culture overall is to go more casual rather than formal.
All right, I'll bring in Mr. Aashutosh here. Sir, explain to us what are the recent policy reforms, or for that matter, legal reforms for the benefit of the MSME sector that would encourage the sector, the startups and the entrepreneurs as well.
Yes, I think the government is looking at it on a serious note, and that is why, as I said about IBC, which was formulated, then I feel that there should be further some amendments maybe in the Companies Act as well, which can cover the startups. They should be given more reliefs. We know that certain loans were also, came up through the government side, that they can have those facilities. I think all these aspects are very, very important and crucial. And also, I think there are different states who should have the rules, regulations formulated in such a way that they are complementing each other. It should not happen that the laws are totally, vice versa or something. Because if a startup, if it is formed in one city, it also carries business in different cities as well. So if the rules, regulations are different in different states, it becomes very difficult for them to pursue it. So that consistency is equally important there. And I'm sure that the mindset of the youth will be taken into consideration, and they would be given opportunities, because many cases are coming up when we see that supposingly if there is a company which is formed. For instance, they are into share trading. They get all their licenses to do share trading. If people are investing through them, they are getting good returns maybe, and they are very happy. But what happens when there is a loss? Supposingly, if there is a war between Russia, Ukraine, or anything like that, which happens suddenly. Recently, we saw with UAE also, the forex and all, they all fell down. So what happens that people suffer huge losses as well, and then they are not able to repay, and they say that the money has been lost. So there this dispute arises. So what happens here, that how you look at it. So suddenly somebody will file an FIR in the police station or EOW, Economic Offence Wing, saying that this company has defrauded us. They have taken money. They had committed this much of money return every month. They are not able to. So these cases, and as a defense lawyer, when you defend these, companies who have suffered losses and FIRs and all being registered, they also treat you like, you are saving a wrong person. So they have, that there has to be understanding level also, then how this money can be recovered, whether there is a genuine loss which has really happened, okay, in the share market, or whatever business it was doing. This is just an example which I gave. And then only, the authorities should take up the matter in such a way to criminalize it. So as I have been telling it again and again, because if every time any company will not have breathing space, or the startups, it will be difficult for them to survive, and there will not be any encouragement for them. Yes, if there is completely misappropriation or wrongdoing, obviously the law will take its, stand. Yes. But not in every case. Every case is not like that. I have seen there are, see, when you are doing business, it is not necessary that every time it will be, profit making. It can have losses as well. So a loss has to be seen in such a way, whether it is a genuine loss or if it is, some misappropriation or wrong deed or whatever. And then only after considering with the expert opinion economically, then only the authorities should take their stand on that. So this is what I feel that should be taken into consideration.
Anupama ma'am, you talked of skill and encouraging right skills in youth. Today, in the technology-driven world, AI is playing a very important role in almost every part, every sector in our day-to-day lives. Is it a bane or a boon for the education sector?
AI is a very good boon when it is used wisely. But ये एक बहुत ख़तरनाक चीज़ भी हो सकता है हमारी युवा पीढ़ी के लिए, क्योंकि आज जो कंडीशन देखने में आ रही है वो ये आ रही है कि हर बच्चा इंजीनियरिंग करना है और कंप्यूटर साइंस और एआई में करना है. जो कंडीशन अभी अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की हो रही है, वो कंडीशन आज से 10 साल बाद सिर्फ इस वजह से बढ़ सकती है कि कंप्यूटर साइंस और एआई के तो बहुत सारे पढ़े लिखे हो जाएंगे, लेकिन जो कोर ब्रांचेस हैं, मैकेनिकल, सिविल, इलेक्ट्रिकल, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, जो बहुत ज़रूरी हैं, उसकी तरफ बच्चे ध्यान ही नहीं देना चाहते. तो मेरी सोच ये है कि ये इन ब्रांचेस को एआई के साथ जो किया जा रहा है, अपग्रेडेशन करके उसको साथ जोड़ा जा रहा है, अगर कराया जाए तो एआई एक बहुत बड़ी मतलब एक वरदान साबित हो सकता है. अगर उन जो स्किल है उसके साथ साथ एआई को जोड़ा जाए, न सिर्फ ये किया जाए कि आप कंप्यूटर साइंस ले लिया और एआई ले लिया और आपने सोचा कि ये तो हर जगह चाहिए, तो फिर इसकी इतनी भीड़ हो जाएगी कि वहाँ पर मेन काम करने वाले लोग ही नहीं मिलेंगे. ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है जो मैं देख पा रही हूँ. दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि जो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में, क्योंकि मैं एजुकेशन से ही जुड़ी हुई हूँ, तो मैं एक बात और कहना चाहूँगी कि आजकल बच्चे क्या है, वो वाली मैगी नूडल वाले डिपार्टमेंट के हैं, तो उनको कोई भी चीज़ चाहिए तो तुरंत चाहिए कि भाई हमारा कल एग्ज़ाम है या 5 दिन बाद एग्ज़ाम है, तो हमको एआई की मदद से, चैट जीपीटी की मदद से पूरा प्रोजेक्ट भी बन जाए, पूरा उसका क्वेश्चन बैंक भी तैयार हो जाए और हम उसको कर लें. बट व्हाट अबाउट द स्पीड? उनकी राइटिंग, उनकी स्पीड, उनको आता समय पर वो प्रेजेंट ही नहीं कर पा रहे, तो स्कोर कैसे करेंगे? फिर उनका जो खुद का दिमाग है, जैसे हम लोग हैं आज ऑन द स्पॉट भी हम ओरल कैलकुलेशंस इतनी फास्ट करते हैं, हम लोग है ना इतनी ओरल जो हम कोई भी बात है उस पर बात कर सकते हैं बिना तैयारी के। लेकिन बच्चों को जो चैट जीपीटी और एआई की जो आदत है, इनको अगर आप खड़ा कर दो तो बिना उसके वो बात नहीं कर सकते, उन कैलकुलेशन बिना कैलकुलेटर के नहीं होगा। तो जब मैं चेक करती हूँ कैश बुक वगैरह, क्योंकि एज ए प्रिंसिपल एज ए एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर मुझे ये काम भी करना होता है, तो मैं तुरंत उस गलती पे हाथ रख देती हूँ। तो बोलते हैं आपको कैसे पता, हमने तो कैलकुलेटर नहीं यूज़ किया। मैंने कहा हमारी ओरल कैलकुलेशन इतनी फास्ट है। तो कहीं ना कहीं एआई या जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसका कोई दुष्परिणाम भी हो सकता है। उसका इस्तेमाल करें, वरदान की तरह करें, लेकिन उसी पे निर्भर ना हो। अगर हम उस पर निर्भर होंगे और बच्चों को निर्भर बनाते ही जाएंगे, पेरेंट्स के पास भी टाइम नहीं है, उनको चाहिए सब कुछ आज, तो वो बच्चों को उतना टाइम नहीं दे पा रहे, तो उनका जो मेंटल ग्रोथ, जो एफिशिएंसी, जो एबिलिटी बढ़नी चाहिए वक्त के साथ, उम्र के साथ, वो नहीं। उनको मोबाइल पकड़ा दिया और उसके हिसाब से वो सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, तो उनकी ग्रोथ नहीं हो पा रही है। दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू लर्न, they're not going to say anything, they're not going to calculate so fast as we are. उनका हिंदी तो बिल्कुल ही गड़बड़, मतलब आज हम लोग हिंदी में भी बात करते हैं, इंग्लिश भी हम पढ़ाते हैं, जब इंग्लिश ग्रामर की बात करते हैं तो उनको नहीं याद है रूट, दे आर स्पोकन इंग्लिश, उन्होंने कुछ क्लासेस ले ली एंड दे आर डूइंग दैट, बट व्हाट अबाउट देयर ग्रामेटिकल रूल्स, बिकॉज वो एआई की मदद ले रहे हैं, चैट जीपीटी की मदद ले रहे हैं। मेरा कहना मतलब ये कि जो मूलभूत आपकी जो क्षमताएं हैं उनको दबने नहीं देना चाहिए, उनको बढ़ाना चाहिए। फिजिकल एबिलिटी, मेंटल एबिलिटी, मेंटल हेल्थ, इसको हम बढ़ाएं, हम अपने लेखन शैली को बढ़ाएं, तो उसके लिए ज़रूरी ये है कि हम उसकी हेल्प लें, न कि उस पर निर्भरता हो। तो इट विल बी ए बून when it is used wisely and as a aid. If we are dependent on that, it is not at all boon.
Tayade ji, you explained to us how the defense sector has evolved. When we talk of the road ahead to achieve a Viksit Bharat at 2047, self-reliance in the defense sector would be very, very important. When we talk of the road ahead, say the challenges or the hiccups that have to be ironed out, where are we standing at present?
See, we are standing at very good position right now. See, if we are just thinking about any problem and the solution to just take that problem, that iron out that problem very safely. So, very firstly, in the artillery school, I meant to say that the artillery school of Devlali, they are doing a fantastic, fabulous job for the drone technologies, and not only the drone technologies, but the advanced drone technologies and all. Secondly, College of Military Engineering, it's situated there at Pune only. It's the only one college there at. Naval War Academy, Goa. They all are doing very fantastic job in their vertical. For say, if we are just thinking about the RF technology, so yes, India is having the latest RF technology solution with us. If we are just talking about the weapon and all, I just want to announce very good news that there is a very big innovation we did here, and fortunately that had been done by my company, it's IDMS. The innovation is that everybody heard about the weapon AK-47 204 model, right sir, Manoj sir? So there is a bullet used in that weapon, it's a 7.62 caliber. The weapon and the bullet had been made by Russia, and nowadays there is a biggest threat for say Honorable MP Sahib is sitting here. Any VIP or our Honorable Visionary Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is going to any country, he's visiting any country, he's just, spreading the talent and the, the roadmap to entire world. If suppose any VIP is going there, and now a very big threat is that nobody can save that VIP assassination from swarm drone or the kamikaze drone. See, earlier पहले ये होता था मनोज साहब कि किसी को गोली मार दिए, चाकू मार दिया, निकल गया. Nowadays GPS मैप हो जाता है, drone 200 drones are going there and they just just drop the grenade or the munition anything, या फिर वो suicide drone कहते हैं जिसका नाम है kamikaze. तो kamikaze drone जाकर सीधा अटैक कर देता है. So the biggest challenge, the problem statement had been given by the defense minister to us, right, from IDEX and all. Aditi is there. The problem statement was कि if the foot soldiers are going in the war field, suddenly the kamikaze drone are coming from there. See, आप जब किसी भी युद्ध की बात करते हैं तो ऑर्डिनेंस आते हैं, वो सब गोला बारूद तोप लेके सब आगे जाते हैं. And the foot soldiers are there who are just right now only carrying the AK-47 gun. So they are having 30 bullets in one magazine. If suppose they just seen the very big threat of 200 kamikaze drone are coming and attacking on them. So the last mile call will be to neutralize that drone with that AK-47, but which is not actually possible because that magazine is carrying 30 rounds. So we have engineered that bullet with 4 fragments. It means एक बंदूक से एक गोली आप चलाओगे लेकिन वहाँ से 4 गोलियाँ जाकर वहाँ निकलती सर. And that too in a 18 inches by 18 inches spread. So nobody in the world invented this. My nation, my country invented this bullet. It's a drone neutralized bullet. So over to your question, I'm just answering that. Yes, India is standing on a very better position in defense. Like this drone neutralizing bullet is there. So nobody in the world invented that. My company, my nation, we have done it with 100% make in India. That's it.
Agarwal ji, when we're talking of flourishing of the MSME sector here, to what extent does global competition play a role here? What kind of a competition do the companies here, the homegrown brands here, or for that matter, the MSME sector at home faces from the rest of the world, the rest of the brands?
But actually, the truth is that the MSME sector is flourishing in India through its own hard work, effort, and its own violation, its own will. I don't think that the people outside India are really, fostering that competition for the MSME sector. Secondly, if we see the corporate world is, in fact, of late taking more and more people from India to lead their top companies rather than the other way. So I think that way we are in a good space.
I'll bring in Mr. Aashutosh. Help us understand, ma'am talked about the role of AI these days. How far has technology improved judiciary in the country?
Yes, that's really a very nice question. We know that after the pandemic, that was the only time when we started to have virtual hearing. After the then CJI, Justice Chandrachud, he introduced the system everywhere, which is being followed as of now. Earlier, the litigants and even the lawyers used to travel from one city to other city, which they can at present do the hearing sitting there in their respective offices as well. So I think this has really improved a lot. Apart from that, yes, AI, if we talk about, so there have been instances that AI has really helped the lawyers and also the judiciary. However, there are certain information which are found not to be absolutely correct so far as some previous judgments are concerned, to which even the Supreme Court has denied to rely completely upon AI-generated information so far as any previous judgments are concerned or any sort of principles being laid down by the previous judgments are concerned. So I feel AI is good to have all the information so far as the legal system is concerned, but so far as whatever experiences have been gained by different courts as of now, they are not completely relying upon as to what information it gives in a particular situation of, legal issues to be resolved. So it may take some time, but yes, definitely it gives a lot of innovative information, a lot of information which can be utilized if we talk about any such legal issues, if it is being considered by different countries, what is their approach, it can give you some good information as well. Apart from that, we know that even at the lower courts, we have the virtual hearing system being developed. And earlier, all the prisoners, they used to be taken to the courts on their respective hearings during trial, which can happen now over the screens. The person in the prison can also attend the court from there. So all these improvements have taken place as of now. However, I think at the lower level, the lower courts really need to further improve, which should happen in due course of time. So far as infrastructure is concerned, the facilities to the judiciary is concerned,
Right.
all these aspects slowly improving, and I think by due course of time it should be much better.
Very quickly, I'll close this panel discussion on this one common question to all of you. Viksit Bharat 2047. What is the biggest strength that India possesses today on its way to becoming Viksit Bharat 2047? Yes, ma'am. First with you. India की सबसे बड़ी strength which will help in achieving Viksit Bharat 2047.
बिल्कुल बहुत संक्षेप में इतनी सी बात मैं कहूँगी कि स्किल्ड और संस्कारी और समझदार युवा शक्ति वो बहुत ज़रूरी है भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने में। तो मेरे हिसाब से तो वही, और शिक्षा में जो काम किया जा रहा है उसको और बढ़ाना चाहिए ताकि ये जो चीज़ है वो हर बच्चे को मिल सके, हर क्षेत्र में मिल सके।
जी, आशुतोष जी।
As she rightly said, I think the biggest strength would be the youth, the youngsters who are given right education in the right direction with all the skills. I think that is going to be the biggest asset to achieve Viksit Bharat.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mr. Aashutosh and Anupama ma'am's what they said. The youth is there, definitely. And the engineering talent of India. I just want to just say about this. Engineering talent means we are having so much talent in India. In engineering, if you are engineering, it means what? Anything you can take any product from this table or anything here. The engineering, the thought process, the youth, and very important is that the motivation and the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji, how he is promoting our nation. That is the biggest strength, that we can follow all his instruction, we can follow every aspect to fulfill his dream, because the Viksit Bharat 2047 dream shown by our visionary Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji. That's it, sir.
Yeah, so I think
Yes.
all the panelists have said everything. I would just add my 2 thoughts to that. One is that, as we all know, that we have a very large base of youth and the people who are the future generation. That's number one. Number two, combine this with some channelization and thought process. And I think in current times, in the last decade or so, we have developed a sense of pride about ourselves, about our country, and about the fact that we are proud citizens of our great
Yes.
nation. That, and I think last but not the least, is that if we are self-reliant or if we are Atmanirbhar, there is no stopping a Viksit India. Thank
All
you.
right. On that note, we'll end this panel discussion. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our panelists who spoke about different pillars of the country, different pillars of India that will help in achieving the idea of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you all.